Tony runs a very, a great team. I love to hear him speak. He kind of like gets me pumped up and excited. I remember going to the first Christmas party for Extreme Realty, and when I heard his words, it touched me because it wasn't just business. It was the way that he carries and he helps his whole team at a personal level. That's what I'm here today. Because you say you work with people that you know, like, and trust. And I got to know Tony and Gabby and the team here, and I also like them and trust them. So that's why one of the reasons that I'm here, sharing what I have with you guys. To go about some of the things that he said about putting a few names out there, I absolutely recommend that. To give you a short testimonial on that, there was I got a call on Saturday, and this guy was like, our appointment is for noon today, are you coming? And I'm like, I'm sorry, who are you? So he goes ahead, he tells me his name, he tells me his address. I'm like, I'm sorry, sir, I never heard from you. This is the first time that we speak. He's like, let me check my email and I'll call you right back. So he called me back a second later. I'm sorry, I called the wrong person, but I got an email with 3 inspector names. Yours was the second on the list. I called the first one on top. I set an appointment, he didn't show up and he's not answering my call, so I just called the second number on the email. So then we set the appointment, and when I showed up on Monday, he called the person that referred the 3 inspectors, and they said, yeah, we prefer 1, but we always have to send 3. So he's like, okay, next time make sure that you put his name first on top of the email. But that's a true story. That happened Saturday. I went on Monday. He was very happy, so he has his insurance reports now for his house. Now, to get started, I'm going to talk a little bit to give you some of my background. I'm a licensed home inspector. I'm a licensed general contractor. I'm a licensed roofing contractor. I started in business back when the condo conversion era was going on, where they were buying these big apartment complexes and turning it into condos. I worked for a management company. My job was to go and inspect about 300 to 500 of these units a week. Sometimes we were a team. We traveled from New York, Texas, DC, Georgia, all over the states, turning apartments into condos. That was my first experience as an inspector. Back then, there was no license required. Then I moved on into construction, and I did a lot of construction and inspection for years. The end of 2012 is when the state of Florida said, okay, if you're going to do a home inspection, you have to have a home inspection license. No longer, contractor is allowed to do an inspection. So that's how I got my license. It was grandfathered in because of my experience. So that's just tell you guys a little bit about my background. I'm going to make some changes in the class today because I have my presentation is ready. But this week I did a flyer that you guys should have on your table. Let me know if anybody doesn't have the checklist. You don't have a checklist?
No, I don't.
Tony, if you can help me, please. And Tony, if you can guide people through the side and the back to grab lunch while I'll speak, that's fine.
Okay.
This is kind of neat because I made a checklist. How many here have a listing? How many of you guys have a listing? Okay, I got 1. Anybody else has a listing here? You spend a lot of time farming the areas. You spend a lot of time spending money, marketing money, and I've seen a lot of agents. They have this listing for months. They negotiate, and they have no idea that that listing will not close on a regular mortgage because the property is not insurable. So this checklist is not going to make you a home inspector, but as a real estate professional, it should give you an idea that the house that you're about to sell, you can sell it. Because after all these months of negotiation, the last thing you want me to go is go in there, or another inspector to go in there and say, I'm sorry, the current condition of this house, you will not get insurance. And if you don't get insurance, you don't have mortgage, you don't close unless you're a cash buyer, right? So I'm gonna go over this list briefly. Go ahead and take a look. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. This is kind of like networking, lunch and learn. It's not just a class that I stand here, talk, and you guys take notes. So if you have any questions, please share. So I'm gonna go very quickly over what is included on the home inspection and what is not included. The exterior of the property, it goes from the roof to the foundation, the walls, the windows. The state of Florida does not consider the pool part of the property as far as the home inspection is concerned. The fence is not part of the inspection. The lawn sprinkler is not. It's what it is attached to the actual physical property. However, myself and maybe most inspectors out there, because we have more knowledge about the whole property than the average buyer, I do run the sprinkler lawn system, I run the pool system, but when they see the contract, it's actually not included there. We're just trying to help and educate as much as possible. The roof, we're gonna spend some time talking about the roof because the roof is one of the main reasons why deals sometimes don't close or the insurance might not insure the property. Mechanical system, it refers to the air conditioning and the heating system. And the interiors is basically everything from the ceiling, the walls, the floors, and we're gonna get some more details about that. Any questions about what is included, not included in the inspection?
Yes. What, tell me, Jessica, the swimming pool, do you check the swimming pool?
We do a visual inspection on the swimming pool, but we cannot guarantee you that the pool is not leaking because we're not diving, we're not doing a leak test. What I check is the pump, the pressure, the coping, which is the border of the pool. I look at the inside of the pool, but it's a visual inspection, but it's in accordance to the state, it's not part of the inspection. We're gonna go back to this one. This is some of the items that are not included, and I put allowed because there's some items that they're strictly prohibited and they're going on out there. It's one of the reasons that why we do this training. Just to let you guys know, you guys are the only real estate office right now that I'm coming to do this class, except from the Miami Real Estate Association. So I am the instructor for the Miami Real Estate Board. So you guys are the only real estate office that have me privately here for you guys. Okay?
We're special.
You guys are. What is not included? Engineering services. For example, if there's a crack on the floor that is over a quarter inch, and that might be something that you want to write down. If you have a crack over a quarter inch, we have to recommend an engineer for a structural evaluation. There are sinkholes on the property, there are foundation problems on the property. We can tell you whether you might have a foundation problem, but we cannot tell you exactly what it is. To tell you what it is, that's an engineering service. If you can change your roof from shingle to tile roof, that requires an engineer. A home inspector cannot give you that observation. There was a house in Hialeah, I think it was last year, the year before, that the roof collapsed because it was replaced from shingle to tile. Tiles are a lot heavier. The engineer did not do a proper job and the roof collapsed. Now there was nobody inside, nobody died, probably that's why it wasn't not in the news, but it did happen, and that is an engineering service, not allowed. Some of the complaints that I have got from other real estate agents is that and the last one that I got is that the inspector went to the property and told them that that bathroom was not good, that to renovate the bathroom was approximately $5,000 and he could do it over the weekend for them. The inspector cannot offer any services, he cannot do any repair, renovation work on the property that he's inspecting. That's a big no-no, and it is going on out there. There's some general contractors that are trying to be home inspectors so they can get that as a lead source to do construction work. It's a big no-no. Okay. Dismantling, there's a difference on opinion there. Just like you guys have the real estate board, we have the Home Inspectors Association. There's two major inspection associations in the US, and they give us the guidelines how to operate on top of the state regulation. So we cannot have, depends where are we affiliated to, we might have 2 or 3 different sets of guidelines how to work, how to do our job. And the biggest change of opinion is in dismantling. Dismantling means take things apart. The state of Florida doesn't even want us taking the electrical panel apart from the walls. However, the insurance companies wants to know what type of wiring they're having wiring issues in there, and unless we take it apart, we don't know. So yes, I do some dismantling, like electrical panels, AC panels from time to time, but if an inspector doesn't do it, does not mean that he's not doing his job, he's actually following state guidelines. So there might be a little bit difference there. Doesn't mean that one is better than the next. It just means that one is listening to one guideline and another one is listening to another one. Septic tanks. Septic tanks are not part of the inspection. When I went, and I think I shared this story here before, but I'm going to say it again because I think it's quite important. When I did my continuing credit education last year, the instructor told a class of about 200 home inspectors that the job of the inspector was to find the septic tank and set the location. And I raised my hand and I told him, I completely disagree with you. my job is to tell you, if you have a septic tank, get a septic tank company to come. My recommendation is to clean it up. If you have nowadays the luxury, because nowadays most of the houses that I go to inspect, they're either Freddie or bank owned or empty foreclosure, they're not really from a seller. But if you have a seller, ask them, what company service this tank? Find out how old it is, how big it is, and the size matters because it depends on the amount of people living in the house. Depends whether that septic tank is going to be cleaned every 3 months or every 3 to 5 years. I've seen septic tanks that only get cleaned every few years, and there's septic tanks that have to be getting cleaned every few months. So the size is important. One of the agents here in this office was showing a listing in Southwest Ranches, and I recommended the septic tank clean. I think it was Claudia. Claudia's not here today. When she hired the septic tank company to go, the septic tank actually had a leak. I think they found out that the city wanted them to replace that septic tank. It was mandatory, it was not an option. And the septic tank cost, it was $15,000. So it's not a small ticket item, you know, it was very expensive. And that was the end of the deal. I'm not sure all the details, but I think that the seller knew about it, didn't put on the disclosures, and it got a little messy, but they were not able to purchase the house. So the septic tank is definitely not included. Yes.
Septic tanks are, I believe, that are in more of this area.
Here you have Southwest Ranches. Most of Southwest Ranches is septic tanks. Plantation has some septic tanks. For Lauderdale, it is in a transition. Some houses do have it, some already connected to the city. The city is slowly forcing everybody to connect to the city. I believe Miami is doing the same thing, Hollywood is doing the same thing. Some cities are forcing you to connect to the city.
But what about
And Davie also as well. There's like fruit and lands, all that area.
Yes.
It's all septic tanks.
this is not supposed to be something that can help you with the septic tank, so is this?
Septic tank is part of the property.
They have to go.
Septic tank, excuse me guys, septic tank is part of the property. If you connect to the city, then the city will charge you for the sewage part. So the people that have septic tanks, the water bill is usually lower because they're not being charged the sewage part of the water bill. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to have a septic tank. And that might be something you want to use if you have a buyer saying, this is a septic tank, tell them, hey, listen, your water bill is a lot less. You save money on it.
You can have a car wash here.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to have maintenance.
That's why you want to do an inspection and find out. If the maintenance on this is every 5 years, and it only costs you $400, imagine spending $400 on sewage every 5 years, versus go you home, check your water bill right now, see how much you pay in the sewage. So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, I know. It's a good thing that it's every 5 years.
Depends on the size. That's why I'm telling you, take a note, ask them how big it is, how often does it need to be cleaned. Pools are not included on the regular inspection. Like I mentioned before, I do a visual inspection on it, and I let you the condition, but I also mentioned to them that I cannot guarantee that it doesn't have a leak. Any questions here? What is included and not included?
You have to talk to an engineer, excuse me, Bob, to fix this septic tank? Or to a contractor?
Septic tank company.
Oh.
Go to Google and find local guys.
Yeah, I can refer you one if you guys need.
The septic tank persons are.
Yeah, that's like an inspector like him, but he only does septic.
Yes, I mean.
Okay.
How
no,
do
no.
we know
Yeah, I have
when it's a
someone.
septic tanks on the property?
How do we
The
know?
inspector should be able to tell you.
Oh, the inspector?
The inspector should be able to tell you. Usually when I go, there's a manhole outside on the street, which means that's where the sewage, city sewage runs. If I don't see one, I know there's a septic tank on the property. If the area is like some are connected, some are not, based on my experience, then I'll ask the question. If there's a seller, ask the seller, hey, does it have a septic tank or not? You can ask the listing agent, but not always listing agents know if there's a septic tank or not. The other easy way to find out, you can call the city water department. You give them the address and you tell them, is this property connected to the city sewage or not, and the city will tell you.
Okay, all right, that's the best way.
So there's a few different ways. But if you have a doubt, just call the city. They'll tell you.
City? Okay.
Yes. We're gonna spend some time here going about the 4-point wind mitigation because these are reports that you're gonna be required for the insurance. The 4-point report, what it does is the following. It checks the roof, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical. And insurance companies will use that to decide whether they want to write insurance policies to the property or not. Last that I know, South Florida has between 20 and 23, 24 insurance companies. Yes.
No, can you repeat the 4-point covers what?
Okay. Electrical, plumbing,
Okay,
mechanical, and roof.
thank you.
4 points. There's between 20 and 23, 24 insurance companies in South Florida. A lot of agents are aware that citizens mandates a 4-point if the property is over 25 years old. However, other insurance companies will use that to decide whether they want to insure the property or not. So every inspection, every full inspection that I do in a single family house, I'll provide a 4-point report, even if it's not asked for. Okay? The wind mitigation, it will make the price of the property come down. The wind mitigation gives you the credit. So the 4-point qualifies the property for the insurance. The wind mitigation is what makes that price go down. I have a doctor in Miami. He never done a wind mitigation on his house. He's a retired veteran. So are you guys familiar with USAA? USAA is a military bank, military insurance company. I'm a veteran, so that's what I do for banking, not for insurance. His property insurance was $25,000 a year. And he doesn't live on the water. It ain't a mansion. He has a nice house in Miami, but it's not, it ain't a mansion, it ain't on the water. The wind mitigation reduced $15,000 of that policy. Imagine how powerful it is. Last week, I was on an inspection representing the seller. They wanted me to be there because they did not trust the inspector that was coming in on behalf of the buyer for the inspection. So I was just sitting there. And it happened to be one of those days that it was cold, so I had a sweater on top of me. The guy did not know that I was an inspector there. And when he arrived, the first thing that he told people was like, you might need a wind mitigation. The realtor was a new agent, did not know what a wind mitigation was. The buyer had no idea. And he's like, if you want to do that, it's $100 extra. You can pay with credit card check. The buyer says, I brought a check for $350 because that's the price that he quoted on the phone. And they did not know. He did not explain to them what a wind mitigation was. What he told them is, I'm gonna go ahead and do it anyway, and later when you need it, just call me, I'll bill it, and once I get paid, I'll send it to you. For me, that's not right. You know they're gonna need a wind mitigation. You might not always need a 4-point, it might not always be asked for, but it's good to have it, it's good to give it. For me, my job to come here is to help you guys know better for your customers, and if I have a buyer, to educate that buyer so they can make a better educated decision. So that was the first thing that I was just, I was quiet, I didn't say anything. Then he started doing the inspection, and as soon as he did the living room and the bathroom, he comes back and said, I'm not finished yet, I'm gonna go ahead and continue just to let you know this here, the electrical here doesn't work. And I was surprised because I did a pre-listing inspection on the house. So my wife went to the car, got the tester for the electrical system, I plug it in the bathroom, it works fine. I'm like, sir, I'm sorry to interrupt, I know your time, is precious, but can you show me in the bathroom why the electrical doesn't work? So he goes back to the bathroom, he connects his tester, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, it does work. And I'm like, just to let you know, I am a home inspector, I'm a general contractor, and I am here on behalf of the seller. And his face just surprised. His face changed, his attitude changed. Then he we didn't have any more issues on the inspection, but just to let you know some of the things that happens out there. And this is just a situation that happened last week. This is not a month ago, last year, no, this just happened last week. So it's crazy everything's going on out there. Roof certificate, I barely get calls from roof certificates. They usually happen when their customer is already living in the house and they have to renew the insurance. And the insurance company has doubts and they don't want to order a full 4-point report. The information on the roof certificate, it is the same information that the 4-point report shows on the roof. The only time that I get a call from the insurance company to do a roof certificate is when the home inspector did a 4-point report using a form from one of the associations that none of them are based in Florida, so their form is not really approved by a lot of the insurance companies here in Florida. Now, permit search, I do a permit search with every property, every inspection that we do. There's some companies out there, I know the association advertise, has some instructors that they charge you extra for the permit search. It's up to you. It is as simple as calling the city. You don't even have to identify yourself. You can ask them if they have any open permits, permit violations, what's the year of the last roof. So I think this is a good time to go over some of the points here. Permit search. If you have a listing, might not be a bad idea, just call the city building department. Sometimes Broward, Palm Beach, some of the houses are unincorporated county areas. Happens a lot of Broward doesn't have it that much, but Palm Beach also has the same situation with Boca. A lot of places that you go, it says Boca. It's not really Boca, it's unincorporated Palm Beach County. If you call the building department and that property does not belong to that city, they'll tell you, no, it doesn't belong to us, it belongs to the county. Can you please give me the county building department phone number? They'll do it. If they don't do it, you can give it over the phone. Find out if they have any open permits, because an open permit would not allow you to close a property. My house, the one that we bought, didn't have an open permit, but the AC was replaced, no permit was pulled, and the appraiser put a comment on it, and we had to go out and get an AC guy, open the permit, pass inspection, close permit in order to close. I did a house in Fort Lauderdale a few weeks ago that they were replacing the windows. They pulled a permit for the windows. It did not pass an inspection. The owner said, forget the city. They never called to close the permit, and then they had an issue because they had an open permit on the windows. The windows were replaced and did not pass inspection. They couldn't close. So if you're a listing agent, the last thing that you want is for closing not to happen for open permit or permit violation. Last Saturday I did an inspection in North Miami. Brand new roof, well done, beautiful. Call the city, no roof permit. No roof permit, it does not count. Not only does not count, if the city finds out, they might make you open up a portion of that roof to make sure that it was well done. Any of you guys done a roof permit here before? How many inspections you had to get for a roof permit? You know, remember?
Two, right? One before and one after, no?
No, you get about 3. You get 3 or 4, depends on the type of roof. Because they want to know the nails, how they put on the layers before the last layer. So if you have an open permit or you have a permit violation on the roof, you have to open a portion of the roof so they know the layers, how they install it.
If you open the permit, if you don't close it, they're going to penalize you, they're going to charge you.
Yep. Absolutely. So if you have a small house, shingle house, flat roof, that the roofer tells you I can do this in a few hours in a day, over the weekend, don't let them do it over the weekend. Go pay the permit fee, a couple $100. You're gonna get that in discounts just on insurance alone. So the number one item to get the 7 steps for inspection preparedness, contact the city. Step number 2, check for roof leaks, any missing cracks, lifted tiles, or shingles. You might not want to get to the roof. I'm going to talk later about a pre-listing inspection. But if you have doubts, you can give me a call, or if you feel that you can go up on the roof, or have from downstairs, down next side of the street, get a camera with a zoom, whatever works for you. But if you have questions and doubts about the roof, might be a good time to know about it more before you go out for the inspection.
Juan, I'm sorry.
Yes.
One question. What are the exactly things that you will look into wind mitigation? Like,
We're gonna go over that.
okay.
I'll go
Okay.
Rotary fascia trim around the house. Everybody know what's a fascia?
Yes.
Yes.
Alright, so for the ones that don't know what's a fascia, this here is crown molding. When you're on the outside, you have the roof, the wall, and you have another piece that looks like crown molding, that's a fascia. It's like the crown molding, but in the outside. Electrical panels. This one is starting to happen more and more often right now. I was talking to an owner of an insurance company a few weeks ago, and they were explaining to me that between August of last year, the few last months of the year, more and more insurance companies are changing how they look at electrical panels brands. And I think, Tony, we had an issue with that recently, right? With the brand of the electrical panel. Oh yeah.
Yes.
It's happening more and more. and they added other brands to it. I was just speaking to an owner of insurance company the other day about that. I put some of the brands here for you guys in number 4. Let's say you have a house with a fuse box. Everybody knows what's a fuse versus breaker. There's no way it's gonna close with insurance. The insurance company don't want that. They want that replaced for breakers. But even if you have breakers, they're gonna have a brand. I listed here some of the brands that citizens and some of the major insurance companies are not accepting anymore. And I think we had a house recently that we did an inspection for Tony, and that's exactly what happened.
So, I'm sorry, so basically, if we have a property to list and they have this brand on the panel,
Yes,
they have to change it for a new one?
they don't have to. My recommendation at that point is to call the insurance company and find out what are the options, because depends on the brand, might have to. Some brands might not be accepted by one insurance carrier, but another carrier will accept it, and then you want to know what is the difference. Because if the difference is $100, $200 a year, no big deal. If the difference is $500, $1,000, and the new breaker panel it costs you, $1,000 to $1,500, let's replace it. So you have to get a little more, find a little more information.
Okay,
You can always call me.
sure.
Number 5, plumbing system.
411 JC.
Make sure there's no there's no leaks there. The water valve, turn and close, toilets. There's a grayish pipe. It looks like PVC, but it's gray instead of white. It's called poly pipe. Plantation has a lot of that. For Lauderdale, some Coconut Creek, poly pipe is not accepted by the insurance companies. It has to be replaced. It was used in the 80s. It was defective right away, and has been discontinued since like 1986, something like that. But for those few years that it was used, it caused a lot of leaks. Number 6, the AC. Just to let you guys know, the average useful life of AC is 15 years. I have never seen an insurance company not write insurance because of the AC not working. However, they do ask the question on the 4-point. Look at your ceilings, window frames, corners. Look for any moistures, any stains on the corners, any suspicious cracks. What I mean suspicious crack is a crack over a 1/4 inch. Most houses in South Florida, they do have a crack. They either have a crack on the garage floor, on the windows. The ground here move. So if you see a crack, it's fine. But if the crack is too big or too many, then it might be suspicious. You might want to find out.
Also 1/4 inch, like,
What's a 1/4 inch like?
just to know that, in this,
Yeah,
like that.
like
okay.
this
Yeah,
the size of your
this,
fingernail.
That's an inch right
Yeah,
there.
that's an inch. A 1/4 is like this, then. It's a little bit like
Two and a
this.
half, 2.5
This.
centimeters.
Yes.
It's like this,
Yes.
okay.
This is a.
Okay, so that's it.
Esto es una pulgada.
Yeah.
Tony, we had to have a measurement class here.
I'm not even talking.
No.
Los dedos grandes que tienen que haber.
Hasta aquí.
Alright guys, so I hope this will help you. This is not gonna make you an inspector, but I hope it makes you feel more confident at the time of having a listing. Okay? The wind mitigation. What's the company looks on the wind mitigation? Yes.
No, I'm sorry, but will you tell me again the 4-point report? What is the meaning of 4-point?
Electrical, plumbing, roof, and mechanical, which is your AC and water.
There
Okay?
you go.
Thank you.
We got a ruler now here.
And, I have another, just.
Yes.
Keeps it in his pocket.
An inspection, a regular one, include the first things you told us, and though these 4 are like additional things?
These are different reports. This goes
Okay.
for the insurance company.
Yes,
The first home inspection is going to tell the client everything that is bad.
yes.
You don't want to send that to the insurance company ever.
Which one?
Guys, take a note.
Which one?
The home inspection
first one.
report.
Oh, yeah,
Do
yeah.
not send it to the insurance or to the bank. Because anything that they see up there, now it's been disclosed to them and they might force you to have it fixed. Another note for investors or those of you that work with investors. If you do a mold test in the house and it comes out positive and you want to use that to negotiate with the bank, put it on the subject line that it tested positive. I know an investor that did a mold test to negotiate with the bank. He sent a copy of the report in the email. The bank canceled the contract, closed the deal. They did not want to open it. They did not want to know about it because once they know about it, they have to do a disclosure to any other possible buyer that comes afterwards.
So the home inspection is only for our clients.
The home inspection is for your client and yourself, and you can use it to negotiate, but do not send it to the bank, do not send it to the insurance company. That's my recommendation.
The bank doesn't ask you.
Some banks do ask you for the home inspection report.
Just this.
Some banks will ask you for it.
Or when you're doing a short sale, and if you find something very bad, you can send it to them.
You can send it to them, but what I'm saying, don't send it. When I send you the email, if I send you the email with 3 reports, then just forward it to them. Make sure that you send the 4-point and the wind mitigation.
You
also.
send separate.
Yes. Yes.
Or your name on your phone.
It's in the report. The wind mitigation. Let's see how you can get the price down on the insurance reports. The first thing that they're looking at is the age of the property. I mean, before I do that, the age of the property. 1994 and before is a price range. 1994, 2002, second price range. 2002 and current, third price range. So the newer, the less expensive it is in that first credit. Second credit, they want to find out how is the roof attached to the wall.
You say 94 to 2000 what?
2. Most common attachment to the wall is a single strap. Oh, you can see here.
That was a
I
credit,
have
right?
here. I have found some townhouses, it doesn't have the attic. And-
Okay.
Okay, how
Mhm.
did you, get the information about the quality of the roof?
If the roof is flat, and I think it is concrete, then it's a concrete structure.
Yeah, that's-
If it's not, if we don't have access, there's a question that says no access, they'll charge you whatever they decide to charge. But if there's no access, we cannot. The other one, we can mark that there's no access, one. Second one, you can build the access. You can make it. You can have a handyman or somebody to come and
Go,
cut the hole in the ceiling, put the little frame to make a covered, an access door, access hatch, and make the access.
Yeah, and then what does the city, the authorities permit to build in this way, because this is not possible to inspect?
That, I don't know. There's different building codes, there's different plan reviewers, I don't know. But if you don't have access to the attic, you can make access to the attic if you like, or we can just put there that there's no access. Yes, sir.
Sorry, sir. Can you please repeat about, this is for the wind mitigation?
Yeah.
You say 1994 or before, that was for a credit?
Yeah,
Credit.
it's how they're gonna price the insurance. They're gonna look at the price at the brackets. 94
okay.
before, 94 2002, 2002 present. We cannot see this picture very clearly. I don't know. Can we turn the lights off at least for
Yeah.
1 minute?
Yes.
Back
The
here.
new one is this one.
I got it. Oh, I think.
Okay. This is your roof, and that's the wall for the house. So when you see the inspector or myself go to the attic, and we come out there like we went to the desert storm, it's because we had to climb to the corner, and there's insulation in the way. We had to move the insulation to look for this and take a good picture. If I send this picture to the insurance company, most likely they're gonna call me and say, Juan, I don't see that picture clearly, please go back and take it again. At that point, I feel like, no, you go take it. When that roof meets the wall, the trusses, they're laying on top of the concrete. This thing here is a metal bar that goes around the wood, holding that roof. And it has 1, 2, and the third nail here that is not clearly visible. Minimum of 3 nails. If it doesn't have those 3 nails, you don't have a credit. If I send this picture, most likely they will make me go back there and take a better picture. There was a house in Southwest Ranches, and I guess my best examples are there because they're usually large in size and they're more expensive for insurance. That the house had a big attic and they only had 2 nails on the straps. And I told the buyer, I recommend you to contact a roofer and get that 3rd nail in there. They did. They called me like 2 months afterwards. They said, Juan, the insurance company dropped $6,000 a year for that.
Wow.
So that could be an expensive credit. Now, it was a big house. I'm not saying that every house will have that of an impact on it. I know there was a house here in Hollywood that I did a report recently. And the last wind mitigation that they did, it was like, I don't know, like 10 years ago. They did not send pictures for backup. and they had a credit of having a single strap. When I went to do the inspection, I could not give them a credit on a single strap because it only had 2 nails. I sent a picture and the insurance increased about $1,200 a year. This is a small house in Hollywood. And they were not very happy. They were mad at me. They're like, Juan, I lost my credit. I'm like, what can I tell you? You were using a credit that you didn't have, and I cannot get away with doing it for you because maybe 10 years ago they were not requiring clear pictures. Now they require clear pictures.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna put my license in the line here, so this could be as small as $1,000 difference in a year or $6,000 difference in a year. Now, besides this, you can have double straps, you get more credit, and there's a few more, but that's the most common. So when you hear the word single strap, just think about how the roof meets that wall. On the roof, one of the questions is what type of roof it is, the shape of the roof, and how old it is. Now, there's 2 roofs that are very common here in South Florida. You got tiles, you got shingles. I hope everybody here knows the difference. Anybody does not know what's a shingle or tile roof? Everybody knows? Okay, good.
No?
You'll be surprised when I go to the Miami board with the new agents. I have to explain the difference.
I don't know what it is.
You don't know.
What
Okay.
is it? What it is? What it
This
was?
here's a tile
What is
roof.
it?
Tile?
Tile. The shingles, I'm gonna show you the picture in a little bit. Do not feel bad if you think there's a tile roof and it's actually a metal roof out there. There's a lot of metal roof that looks like tile. You might not know the difference from the ground or unless you are experienced on it. Average useful life on a tile is 30 years. Tony, you want to share that story about the roofer that it says it's 15 years?
Yeah, Cindy,
How
wasn't that
many?
the guy
50?
that approached you?
Who was it?
Or 50?
That was me, yeah.
I was.
I don't-
Let me tell you, I got stories from everywhere,
They said
different
it
places.
was
of them.
something like, if your roof's more than 10 years old, you won't be able to get it. You can only probably get a cash buyer because it would probably be uninsurable. So the person was like, they were trying to sell him a roof.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys, this is what this is powerful for you guys, because knowledge, is potential power, but we're not gonna go into that. But a situation like that, you want to get a listing and the roofer is just trying to sell your roof. Take a note. Insurance companies say that the tile roof average useful life is 30 years. What the insurance company wants also to see is that it has a remaining useful life about 4 to 5 years. If the remaining useful life, let's say I'll give it 2 years, you might have an insurance company that could close that deal for you. And this happens a lot with investors. Or let's say somebody's negotiating a credit for a new roof, but the new roof is not gonna go in there before closing, it will go after closing. The inspection doesn't finish the day of the inspection, guys. If I'm working this deal with you guys, I do the inspection, we probably gonna be in communication until you close that deal. Because if you have an investor and the roof is bad and you can negotiate the credit on that roof, you might need an updated report later on. You might have an insurance company say, can you talk to the inspector to see if he can put 2 years on the report? If I think that roof can last 2 years and the buyer is aware of the situation and everybody involved is aware, absolutely I'll make the change on the 4-point report. What I would not make a change on the 4-point report, I'm not gonna give 2 years for a report and somebody involved in the transaction does not know about it. It's key because insurance companies want to see 4 to 5 years. Next most common roof, this is shingles. I know the pictures you can see very clear, but they look like that little asphalt on top, they're flat. Those are shingle roof. If you see a flat roof, but it looks like concrete, bigger pieces, it is flat, it's tiles also, there's different type of tiles, okay? They don't not always have to be that barrel shape. Average useful life on the shingle roof is 20 years. Same thing, insurance companies are looking for 4 to 5 years remaining. Now, this is very common. You have a shingle roof here, and you have a flat portion. The insurance company wants to know the permit history on both of them, and they want to know the remaining useful life on both of them. I did not put a useful life on the flat roof because there's so many brands and type of construction, how you can put them on a roof, that is almost impossible. You can have flat roof that will last you 5 years, and you can have flat roof that will last you 30 years. And no brand that I know as a licensed roofer puts their brand on top of the material. So once you go on the roof and you see it, you don't know how many layers or what is underneath.
So a shingle roof will last
20.
20 years?
Yes.
Because a lot of times I see the other agents are saying like, no, a shingle roof is 12, 15 years. So it's 20.
There's an instructor for the board that when he does the class, that's what he teaches the agents. And then at the end of the class, he goes and he says that he can have insurance companies that will close and they'll give 20 years to the shingle. As a licensed roofer, I know that there is shingle roof that lasts 25 years with a guarantee. Now take a little note here. If you're hiring a roofer, there's a big difference between a warranty and a guarantee. The warranty is just like that label that says material warranty of defection, 20 years. But that warranty is that material warranty that anybody has. The guarantee means that the roofer is approved by the manufacturer, and the manufacturer will stand behind labor, the labor time and material on that roof. So big difference. You can have a shingle roof with a guarantee of 25 years. It'll be a little more expensive and you have to pay for it. But 15 years, no, shingle roofs don't last 15 years, they last more. But I know that there's somebody teaching that and to the realtor, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if you're in doubt, always, you can contact the insurance company. Contact the person that sells you the insurance. What are the insurance companies are looking on the shingle roof? And they'll tell you it's 20 years. Or at least 4 to 5 years of useful life remaining. So if that roof is 20 years old, but it's in perfect conditions, it's not coming apart, there's no leaks, we can still say that it's gonna last 3 or 4 more years. So because it is 20 years old, not necessarily forces you to replace the roof immediately. Okay? The next credit on the property is the shape of the roof. Now I put this picture here. How many here has never seen that question between a gable and a hip roof? Okay. When you see this type of roof here, now let me make this clear. If you stand in front of the house and the house looks like that, look to the side of the house. Make sure that the side doesn't look like this. The difference on price between a gable roof and a hip roof, it could be a big difference. The hip roof, it comes on all 4 directions. That roof is coming down here, both sides, and the back, it looks just like the front.
Are four legs.
Yes, like the pyramid. What happened is, engineers have done testing, and when the wind blows to that wall, the chances of this roof coming off the house is a lot higher. That's why the insurance charges more for a gable roof than a hip roof. Now, is that a gable or a hip roof house?
Both.
Both. So how the insurance companies determine which one they're gonna pick for
They
insurance?
Both.
Ratio, percentage, or something?
It's a percentage.
They
That's
get,
paid.
they get a break.
If that ratio is less than 10% of the whole house,
Yeah.
it is considered a hip roof. It is more than 10%, they will charge you as a gable roof. So then it's my job as an inspector to measure the point from here to here and to measure the entire perimeter of the roof.
Less than 10%.
Less than 10%. And if I can prove to the insurance company that this is less than 10%, they're gonna charge you as a hip.
I see this in my home.
Now,
Serving this.
the next credit for the wind mitigation is the opening protection credits, which people know as hurricane shutters, impact windows, things like that. Everybody knows what's a skylight? Skylight?
The roof,
Alright.
like.
When you, let's say you have a panel like that in a house that you can see outside, plastic, that's a skylight. Everything from the skylight to the front doors, to the garage doors, to the windows, everything has to be either impact rated or protected to get that credit. I did an inspection in Pembroke Pines a few weeks ago, and I felt horrible for the gentleman. He was a very nice guy. He was improving his house. He put all nice PGT impact windows, which is a good brand. So he probably spent, I don't know, $6-7 grand on windows. and then he wanted to do the final touch. He changed the garage door. And the garage door that he put, it has those nice plastic see-throughs. Most of those plastic see-throughs garage doors, they're not impact rated. So after he spent all the money on the windows, he could not get the discount on the insurance that he was hoping for because he changed the garage door for the wrong door. So these doors inside, they have some stickers. The windows will have some stickers. Tell your clients, don't touch it, don't paint it, leave it there. If the garage door is impact rated and all the stickers have been removed, and I have no way to find the brand of the garage door, you cannot get a credit on it. Sometimes I get creative and the neighborhood is a newer neighborhood and all the neighbors have the same doors that we asked to go to one of the neighbors to take a picture because it's exactly the same door. If the sticker is removed and the brand is there and the brand has a serial number, I might contact the manufacturer and get it done. So sometimes the inspection, it takes a few days and a little bit of research in order to really help your client all the way. Some people will go and say there's no stickers there, no credit, boom, let's move on.
That applies also for the front door?
Front doors too. If this front door here is impact rated, you'll have a sticker. If you remove that sticker, and if you don't have paperwork documentation backup, and if you did not pull a permit, you have no way to prove that.
Go to the neighbor.
Yes, yes.
And if you replace that door, then no neighbor will
You
say
have
no.
to take care when you are,
So-
in order to paint, okay, in order to protect, cover before.
Cover the sticker, don't paint it.
Yeah, and
So-
don't paint it.
Even if the door was manufactured in Hialeah.
Even if they don't manufacture in Hialeah. A lot of impact windows are being manufactured in Hialeah. Guys, every window, it has to be protected. Whether there's impact windows or they have accordion panels or they just have the panel that goes on the wall, is no different on the pricing for the insurance company. As long as they're protected, they're protected. One does not make a difference on pricing, as long as I'm aware. I might be wrong, but to the best of my knowledge, no different on pricing there. Any questions so far in the wind mitigation? No? Alright, so now you guys have a little more information. When you're driving down the street with your buyers, you can tell them, hey, this is a hip roof and why is a gable roof. It makes you look smart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in Spanish, how do you tell that in Spanish? There's a like gable here.
Este
Can
es un
somebody
sexo
help
hip.
me